So today I wanted to go over a couple things I saw on X and talk about the truth about why most women push for marriage and how women see marriage as an end goal and not being a wife or being marriage worthy. And part of the reason that women feel like this is because of these freaking simps, guys. This is the problem these days. It is no wonder you see testosterone levels dropping of men declining 1% a year. The average testosterone level is half of what it was 50 years ago. Chalk is on a mission to save mankind from extinction by boosting your vitality. When you boost your testosterone, you'll have more mental clarity, you're better at taking risks and making decisions. Pearl as your coupon code and you'll get 25% off statewide on chalk.com. That's CHOQ.com. Coupon code PEARL. Boost your testosterone naturally and supercharge your masculinity. Don't be a simp. Okay, guys. So during the year I was interviewing people, or the 2 years, I was working on a divorce documentary. And I interviewed men that were victims of divorce rape. Now, if you don't know what divorce rape is, it's basically men that got screwed over in divorce. Many times they had false accusations. They had lost their kids. It'd been years since they'd seen them. And once I'd seen this enough times, I knew the patterns to look for a woman that was accusing someone of something when they didn't do it, because I could just kind of sniff it out. And it would happen often on my show where a woman would say she was abused by her ex-boyfriend. And it got to be so common that it was almost every other show a woman would casually mention her abusive ex. And in my head, if you're willing to, on a public platform, publicly mention that your ex was abusive, when people know oftentimes who your ex is, I want to make sure you're telling the truth. So I would ask a couple questions and I would find out that they were not in fact abused. And oftentimes what they do is they expand the definition of abuse. So if you get cheated on, were you abused or did you take an L? Serious question for women. Like, is it abuse if you get cheated on? I mean, it's happened to the best of us. It's unpleasant. I don't prefer it, but I mean, abusive, gaslighting, I think that's a little bit extreme. So when Hillary Crowder came out, when that ring footage leaked last year, and I've talked about this case a lot, and the reason I keep bringing it up because it was so similar to a lot of the people that I interviewed, the men that were victims of divorce rape. When she had the footage leaked of Crowder yelling at his wife and everyone called it abuse, I knew what was happening. Because what happens is women always want to build careers and platforms off of victimhood. And whether it's in their town, their social circle, reputation destruction is the #1 tool of women. That's how we survived. We can't physically attack someone. So what do? We destroy their reputation. So when I saw her Instagram profile or Twitter profile, we can pull this up, and it said twin mom rebuilding from the rubble. And we later come to find out she was getting $25,000 a month. Was I surprised? I mean, would you guys say rubble? I'm just curious. Thumbs up if rubble is $25,000 a month. Thumbs down if it's not. I'm just asking these questions, okay? So that's how a lot of people wondered, how did I know when everyone else was calling him an abuser? How did I know what was happening? Well, you interview 1,000 people, you get some patterns. So she had a tweet go viral. And I want to just point out, this is another form of reputation destruction. So the logical conclusion is that many of the loudest voices in the manosphere that hold such contempt for women are deeply closeted. That is, they have very little, if any, attraction to women. Even if they never act on it, their true desire is to be with another man. So when I was interviewing women, hold on. We're going to whiteboard it today, everybody. Okay, here we go. Yeah, $25K a month. Is that rubble to you? Yeah, exactly. That is exactly what I said. And you'll notice all the women, the conservative women backed her up, right? Because that's kind of what women do. We trust each other or whatever. We come to each other's aid before facts. Conservative, liberal, doesn't matter. Okay, so when women are angry, there's certain insults they love. In Hillary's case, she's not getting her way. She wanted to be a victim. That was her dream. She wanted to just be the victim, single mother. And this is often what divorcees do. I really think we should send some of these divorcees to an impoverished country, because I don't know who in the right mind would say rebuilding from the rubble when you're getting extortionate amounts of money in a divorce. I mean, that's crazy. So anyway, so when a woman doesn't get her way, or a man, right? It could be either. So number one, you are gay. So oftentimes this is something they would say to me. They would say, Pearl, you're just gay. And they say this, I'm not special. They say this to men too. So this is what we have for her. She's just saying, in a lot of words, you're gay. Number two, you are insecure. Now, I don't know who is more insecure than women. We are the most insecure creatures. Men are too, but especially us. We rely on beauty a lot. So one thing they would say, you're insecure, and then they would psychoanalyze you with any personal information you ever told them or they could find online. That's number three. You hate insert whatever. Could be women. So Kevin Samuels would talk about this. It's shame, guilt, insult, and need to be right. So this is an insult. You're insecure. Insult, shaming language, you hate. The psychoanalyzing. Number four, why? Why do you do this? Why? Why would you say that? By the end of this 2 years, guys, I felt like I was almost a man because I just had heard it all at this point. I mean, the pigeons are so predictable. I just want to see, because sometimes you guys put some good stuff in the chat. So if you have some more of what we women and men sometimes do when we don't get our way, feel free to put, why did you do this? You're so insecure. Number five, your tone. Another thing that I would get often would not be, is the information right or wrong? It would always be, it's how you say it. So what happened was in this year, I would try all these different ways of saying it. I would try to say it nicely. I would try to go around and be more politically correct. And by the end of this 2 years, guys, I was so done. I was just like, I'm going to say what I said and you guys can just kiss anyways. Oh yeah, so I didn't get this one, but a lot of men do. Small, we're trying to be YouTube friendly. You have a small fill in the blank. We're trying to be PC or incel. So what's interesting, women, especially the conservative women, I mean, they would insult men by calling them an incel, but also insult men for sleeping around. And I would get so confused. I'm like, don't you want them to be incels then? Because you don't want them to sleep around. Isn't that like following what you're saying? It would be, I'm like, it's a lose. Anyways, okay. So these patterns, but this was a big one. Shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right. Another one, arguing when they're clearly wrong. So an example of a show that I had too many times. It was like I had the same show over and over. One was talking about overweight people. And oftentimes we would maybe bring up Lizzo and say, that woman is fat. She's fat. I mean, overweight, obese. And when I would say she was obese, the women on the show would say, no, she's just thick. Or someone like Lizzo, okay? And I would show them the BMI charts and say, look, obese. There's no ifs, ands, or buts here. Obesity. And the chart would be in front of them, and the men would agree, and they would still say no. Do you know what it's like to do, let's say in a month, 3 shows about body positivity and have to argue this for 3 hours? I saw Michael Knowles on a show arguing on whatever for 8 or 9 hours. I don't know how they do it. I said, you guys can have these panels. I don't want it anymore. So need to be right. And the more feminine, or I guess blue-pilled the guy, the more these are used. Okay, so I understood why, because a lot of times what I would hear from women with their issues with relationships is they just wanted the truth. One topic that came up often was infidelity. And they would say, well, why can't the guys just tell me what it is? Why can't they just be honest? And ladies, let me just explain something. What I figured out is a lot of men go through life, they tell us the truth, and then all of those things I just listed happen. So they say, you know what's easier? Lying. Now, I'm not saying they should or shouldn't. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. But if you ever wonder, how did we get to a position where they lie, or some lie, right? Not all, but that's why. It's because the consequences for telling the truth are just crazy. Yeah, they can't handle the truth. And that was a big turning point for me, because before I would watch the manosphere content and I would think, oh, well, why doesn't Myron just say it nicer? Why doesn't Andrew Tate just say it nicer? And I did. I interviewed 1,000 women, and I thought, I see exactly why they don't. Because telling the truth it got me. Why did I have to build this website, guys? I could have just Steve Harvey'd it,